guys, what's up? This is the Superstation. I am MEM Basis.
I'm Grit992003.
I'd kind of like to stay anonymous.
Okay.
I'm Orbital Unisuit.
And Orbital Unisuit, or known as Skylar, is our special guest, and we're very glad to have you here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, so we're going to be talking about propaganda. So, honestly, propaganda, has a lot of uses and a lot of flaws and everything. So, why don't we let Grit992003 take first show? So, Grit?
Honestly, propaganda, like everything else in our society, is a tool that's used both for good and evil, I guess you could say. You've got the good, which is pretty much like, the trying to rally people around a certain cause, like the defense of the country if it's being attacked. But then again, you can use it to single out and harm any group of people that you like, such as racial, ethnic, or religious minority. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would rather not use it, but again, that's up to the society to discern whether or not to implement it.
Alright, hey, we got our member Jess, or known as Chronic Carrick. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing just fine.
Alright, we'll get to you in just a second. We'll let Orbital Unisuit go. Orbital Unisuit, please begin.
You mean propaganda as in governmental propaganda, or advertising?
More like whatever. Whatever falls under propaganda, basically.
I don't think advertising is considered propaganda. Propaganda is never really a good thing, because as Grits just stated, it ostracizes a certain minority and is used to, I think, brainwash certain individuals or a massive population to conforming to what a certain government wants, or a government entity wants people to think. I think you could easily discern between between propaganda and informative announcements or displays. That's it.
Alright. Jess, would you like to add your 2 cents about propaganda?
Well, personally, I'm not a huge fan of propaganda, though I do understand that it has a potential for great power over the masses. Quite frankly, I've never bought into any propaganda, but it's been used during World War I and II to keep our troops and our nation supportive against our enemies, rather than today's media recently has been falling behind and making our troops look like criminals, when quite frankly they should not have any business whatsoever actually filming anything about war, because anyone back home would not understand war. So propaganda in itself is good and bad. I would see it as a necessary evil, because rather than demonizing war, we should be helping. We should be backing our own troops, rather than, as soon as they come home from Iraq or Iran or any different tours of duty, getting stoned in their own homes by Muslims that claim to be pacifists, even though their religion, quite frankly, is actually very violent. If you ever read the Quran, they're highly into killing all, non-believers.
Alright.
So,
That's not true, but whatever.
yes, it is.
I'm gonna have to agree with Skylar on that one.
My turn, I never got to speak.
Alright, come on, guys, come on. Alright.
Sorry.
Ashley?
I got a think that he got off a topic and he just kind of started taking it more towards a really diverse part of the political spectrum. I'm not going to go into that too much, other than the fact that technically we're in a war that's not... It's hard to really propaganda it because we don't have as much of a reason to be in it as we did World War I and World War II, but even those, propaganda went both ways. Things were said. I, myself, don't really agree with propaganda too much just because it does more harm than good, because people just buy into it as being truthful when propaganda is more of false advertisement, really. If you go into that spectrum, like with the political campaigns that are going on and everything, you hear something and you automatically assume it's true, and people don't want to do the research to choose which side is right, so they just buy into whichever person they agree with more at the time, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily what's going to happen. I don't really like propaganda because so many people are too lazy to figure out the truth behind it and just go with what people say.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's basically my...
Alright. So, I have 7 different methods of propaganda, or basically types. So, the first being is bandwagon, to convince the audience to do or believe something because everyone else is doing it. Now, the second method is plain folks, basically suggesting something is practical and a good value for ordinary people. The third method is glittering generality, using words so strongly positive and emotional content that just hearing them makes you feel good. The words express a positive meaning without actually giving a guarantee. The fourth meaning, basically, or method, whatever, is transfer. Transferring good looks, feelings, or ideas to the person who the propaganda is meant to influence. Suggest the positive qualities to be associated with the product and the user. The fifth method is testimonial. Using a famous person to endorse the product. 6. Repetition. Using the product name or a keyword or phrase over and over. Or 7. Name calling. Use harsh/kind words to make a point effective. So those are the 7 methods of propaganda. What do you all think of that? We'll start with Skylar.
Did you get that definition from the dictionary or something?
No, those are just basically methods that I looked up.
Oh, because
We got it from Google.
I don't think that propaganda, like you said, is the same thing as advertisements. I think that if you use advertisements are product placements, repeatedly saying a slogan or plugging a product like they did in the 1950s when Coke in their, like in the middle of movies, would flash either symbol or like something that says you're thirsty, and people would go and they'd see it subliminally and they'd go and like order Cokes, but they stopped doing that. I don't think that's propaganda. Propaganda is done by the government to promote a certain cause that people otherwise might not believe, like a wartime thing. I think that the media is really bad at that, and I don't think that all of those fit under the category of propaganda. No.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking.
Alright, Grit, would you like to add your 2 cents about the 7 methods?
Well, yeah, I mean, like Skylar said, I mean, there's a big difference between propaganda and advertisement. Advertisement is just, basic suggestion, and yes, it does use those 7 methods to buy into it. But then again, propaganda is similar in a way. It's sort of like the government advertising for, whatever policy or role it wants to assume in the society. So, yes, it does use a lot of the same methods, but, I mean, it also uses them in a more sinister way, I guess you could say. Like, you have the mode known as agent provocateur, which is basically like, if I'm the government and I want to break up a riot or make the rioters look bad, I put some of my own people in the group and cause them to make it, even bigger than it already is. I mean, you don't see Pepsi going to I don't know, a place that only serves Coke and putting one guy in there to say, I think Coke sucks, let's start a riot.
Mhm.
So, as far as the 7 methods go, I mean, that's been around since time immemorial, but to use it in a propagandist sort of way, it's just darker.
Yeah. All right. Ashley.
For me, the 7 methods are natural things that occur. Like, even when you're speaking, you're using those methods in what you're saying. You're trying to convey with your audience and so forth, and propaganda does the exact same thing. Propaganda is something that is spread more than it did in the past because of the widespread media that we have. So things are getting more attention, and I think one of the things that our media does is it makes small things seem so much larger by putting so much propaganda and so much power behind them that we forget what really is important because we're too busy worrying about the things that really don't matter, because those are things that, I mean, to me, propaganda is more of well-placed circuits within our, like, as you said with the drink thing in between a movie, it makes you think you're thirsty. If you see something that empowers you to want to act, you're going to act on it. And our government knows that, so they find things that they don't care if we act on them, and they make those the center point instead of the things that really do matter, and they just kind of lay low on those.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a timer?
No, it's somebody playing something. Anyways, continue.
No, that was all of it. That's why I was
Alright, so just to sum it up about propaganda, we'll begin with Grit. Before we leave, Grit, please begin.
I don't know. I think, like Skylar said, you know, propaganda and advertisement are not the same thing. Yeah, they're very close, but propaganda is made to bring out the worst in people and to inspire either fear or false pride. And it's something that we should try to avoid as a society. Though it will be used and it will always be used, given we're flawed little creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say.
Alright, Skylar, to sum it up.
I think it's pretty much what Grit said. You said we're almost done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was talking to Marbles. He wanted to join in. He said he'd give you some lost episodes of Rocco's Modern Life if you wanted them, if you let him join in. But I think it's more sinister, and you shouldn't get it confused with advertising at all.
Yeah. Alright, Ashley, to sum it up.
I kind of think that don't ever take anything that you see to be truthful. Don't ever, automatically agree with something. Go out and do the research before you buy into something that is placed before you, and they are, propaganda and advertisement are 2 different things.
Mm-hmm. Alright, guys, this is our discussion about propaganda. I am MEM Basis, and I am saying goodbye for Chronic Carrick, who had to leave.
This is Grit9 in 2003 signing off.
This is Orbital Unisuit / Skylar. See you laters.
And you can just know me as Ashley.
Goodbye, guys, and we hope you all have a good night.
Adios.